It's a very good evening. It is a Tuesday, the 6th of May 2025, and you are watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. We are broadcasting to you live from the capital in Harare, Zimbabwe. My name is Faith Nyaude. A quick look at stories making the headlines tonight. President Mnangagwa has said the country's culture is dynamic, evolving and deeply interwoven with its people's national identity, highlighting the importance for all citizens to champion and promote national heritage. School authorities who force parents to buy uniforms and stationery exclusively from schools have been put on notice. Tonga Nandoro from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education will be joining us live to discuss this burning subject. Stay tuned to Newsplus as we shall give you the latest on the country's power supply situation. And Zimbabwe fast bowlers Blessing Muzarabani and Richard Ngarava have made the headlines again as they have been rewarded for their heroics in the chevron's colors. That story and more in our look at sport. In our first report this evening, President Mnangagwa has said that the country's culture is dynamic, evolving and deeply interwoven with its people's national identity, highlighting the importance for all citizens to champion and promote national heritage. Speaking before today's cabinet meeting in Harare, which saw him, his deputies and all ministers wear the national dress as part of observing National Culture Month, the president said recognizing the national dress was important as it ensured that future generations would inherit a legacy of pride and cultural consciousness.
Cabinet at its 11th meeting held last week agreed that all cabinet ministers should don the national dress for today's meeting as part of promoting our culture month, which I will soon launch nationally under the theme Celebrating Indigenous Voices.
The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO declared May 21st as the World Day of Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. In that spirit, Zimbabwe extends the celebrations across the entire month to promote both indigenous and contemporary cultural expressions. National Culture Month, which is running until the 31st of May under the theme Celebrating Indigenous Voices, is set to be officially launched by President Mnangagwa and seeks to celebrate the rich cultural heritage of Zimbabwe, promote cultural diversity and foster national unity. President Mnangagwa said Cabinet's decision to wear the national dress had been agreed upon during the 11th Cabinet meeting last week as a way to lead by example in honoring Zimbabwean identity and cultural heritage.
Our culture is not static. It is dynamic, evolving, and deeply interwoven with our national identity as a people. As leaders, we have a responsibility to champion and promote our heritage as a people.
Now, in other news, the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission has issued a warning on schools that are forcing parents to exclusively purchase school uniforms from them or certain suppliers. The call comes as parents begin preparations for the second term, which starts next week. Our correspondent, Selina Nyamangara, has the details.
As the new school term approaches, parents and guardians have already started buying school uniforms, stationery, and other essential items. But for many families, this seasonal ritual can be a significant strain, especially when they are forced to pay for more than they can afford. Some parents have expressed a frustration with schools that insist on exclusive uniform purchases from specific suppliers, adding to the financial burden.
Trouser rekuti $3 kuchikoro nenge chinzi kana $20 isi tinavo vana vari kuchikoro mauniform tinei titori nawo but unotonzwa toti tikudai pano pachikoro majuzi rinenge chinzi $35 juzi riri kuita $67 apa nyika yedu nemamiriro akaita zvinhu takaomerwa sevabereki hazvisi kumeka sense saka dai maitawo action maonawo zvekuita kunyanya kuzvikoro
wane nzvimbo yemwana weform 1 wanga uri kufanira kubhadhara 1.1 mauniforms neschool fees. Chaunotanga kunzi bhadhara uniform first then fees later. Ipapo zvinenge zvakangotongooma, tinenge takatokungogosherwa zvakadaro nokutoti isusu kuchikoro tichitarisira kuti chinotarisirwa first ifees then uniform yotevera. Hapana pandinomboendesa mwana asina uniform, but kana yakutemerwa kuchikoro au enda apuka ndakufoswa kuendesa mwana kuchikoro kwandisingadi nokuda kwokuti kwandinenge ndichida ndendisa afford mari yemauniforms.
On the other hand, uniform sellers have also complained of a decline in business due to this growing trend in schools dictating where parents can purchase uniforms. Some sellers have linked this practice to corruption.
Corruption iripo. Corruption iripo. Nokuti mumwe munhu anenge aitoendesa mauniform ikokoka haatosoni, haatogoni kana kusona. Unotoenda unotsvaka mauniform woendesa kuchikoro kwekuya unosvika kuti mimi ndikakupai mauniform aya muchawana uchakati. Saka corruption iripo.
Zvese zvamukoneshi hakuna. Muri kuona matrosa makaaaaaradzwa zvinhu zvikutenga zvakangomira sezvozvo. Saka tine dambudziko kuti ungatibatsira kubva kubhutsu vari kutonoita ivo kunohodha ivo kuSouth Africa kuchienda kubhutsu matichers chitengesa kubva kusoks hatichisii. Saka hatizivi kuti isusu toita useni
In response to these concerns, Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission said they are investigating the matter. The government also stated no parent should be forced to buy school uniforms exclusively from schools.
We were not exposed to anti-corruption training, even in schools. But what we are not doing, our school children, parents and people like that, we are now telling them that if the school committee, the SDA, says, or the headmaster says, henceforth school uniforms can now only be bought from this school, from here. You don't need to buy them from anywhere. And when you investigate further, you find the tailor who is making those uniforms is the headmaster's wife or the deputy headmaster's wife. Then you know there's something wrong. Then the parents must know that there's something wrong. And we say to them, that nonsense must be stopped. We cannot allow a situation like that.
As the new school term approaches, parents are under increasing pressure. But with the ZAC investigations underway, many hope for a resolution that ensures fair and transparent practices. Selina Nyamangara for ZTN Prime in Harare.
Now, to discuss this further, we are joined live by Taongana Ndoro, the spokesperson in the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. Taongana, it's a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for making the time and joining us. Now, the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission has issued a warning on schools that are insisting on exclusive uniform purchases at schools or certain suppliers. You have been very consistent with this message as well. Now, how important is it seeing other relevant authorities also now joining in these calls?
Thank you very much. The Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education has listened to the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission issuing those statements, and we believe that this is very sweet music to the ears, particularly in the education sector. We have time and again, through the Honorable Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, Dr. Torerai Moyo, through the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Moses Mike, through the Deputy Minister, Honorable Angeline Gata, in Parliament and everywhere, where we have repeatedly said that the purchase of school uniforms or stationery should not be forced on parents to buy those items at the school. We are in a competitive market, and if a school is in competition with the market, it should then relax its conditions such that parents are free to purchase uniforms and stationery wherever they find it cheaper. If the school is more competitive than the market, then parents will rush to the school. If they are more expensive, then parents will go to the market. it is our clarion call that all school administrators must ensure that parents are free to purchase uniforms at the place of their choice.
Now, Taungana, in the case that a school has been caught breaching these orders, are there certain consequences or penalties that have been put in place?
Thank you. The Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education has got quite a cocktail of measures that it can take. Key amongst them is a disciplinary measure against the head of the school, that whoever continues to do so, the issue of selling uniforms and stationery as a mandatory claim to parents, they will continue to do so at their own peril, because the ministry will then initiate disciplinary measures against the head of the schools. If it is a non-governmental school, those that you call private schools, we've got quite a number of measures which can include, but we would not like to, but which can include deregistration of such a school.
Taungana, thank you so much for joining us and for giving us those answers. Now, that was Taungana Ndoro, spokesperson of the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. Government this evening gave an update on efforts underway to restore power supply following a fire incident at the Highfield substation on Sunday. Acting Minister of Energy and Power Development, Jenfan Muswere, said some of the affected areas are still experiencing the blackout while power has been restored in other parts.
In response to the incident, load reconfiguration has been implemented to restore services, with Workington backfed from Kambuzuma and Willowville backfed from Park Ridge via Glenview. The plan includes replacing damaged control cables to restore the 132-33 kV transformers and circuit breakers into service. Additionally, a transformer will be removed from headgates and installed at Highfield. Battery substation has been successfully restored, bringing back power to Old Benny, Waterfalls, Mbari and parts of Southerton. However, areas still without power include Varun Beverages, New Benny, parts of Willowville Industrial, Highfield Residential and Glenora.
Meanwhile, some residents in the southern suburbs have now gone for 3 days without power due to a supply disruption following this fire that took place at Highfield substation. The incident came amid suppressed power supply emanating from a technical fault at Wangi Power Station. Tafaras Wachiwa visited some of the affected areas to assess the situation on the ground.
It's day number 3 without electricity for some of the southern suburbs of Harare. This is after critical equipment at the Highfield substation was destroyed by fire on Sunday. Some of the areas experiencing complete blackout are parts of Southerton, Industrial and Domestic, Workington Industrial, Old and New Ardburney Industrial including Varun and Steel Brands, parts of Willowville Industrial, Rugare, Westwood, Lokingva, Highfield, parts of Waterfalls, parts of Mbari, ZETDC Enterprises and ZRP Southerton. Authorities are working round the clock to restore power supply to affected areas. However, some residents are feeling the pinch. Stewart of Southerton says they have since resorted to other means to sustain.
Switch on kwenyara wako rakavhara ratopisa main transformer saka hanzi kusvika agadziriswa hatizivi kuti rini saka vatakumbozvibatsira negas at the moment.
Ndakangoona chilight and then moto wakazongoitika ipapo, moto wakawanda and then sound yakabuda ipapo sound yaitotyisa. Even nyama mumafiriji umu takutogona kutoita dzekutisasika chaizvo kutoti dzitooma because pakatoipa. Even mabusiness evanhu vane zvinhu zvavo zvemafiriji zvimwe zvachona zvinoda mafiriges.
To minimize the impact, ZESA has put in place some measures following the Wange Power Station and Highfield substation incidents. These measures are meant to alleviate the situation.
Like the Workington area is being temporarily supplied with power from the Kambuzuma substation, and the Willowville area is also temporarily supplied with power from the Park Ridge substation.
We wish to apologize to all our stakeholders for this unfortunate situation.
Residents, however, want specific timelines. When will power be restored?
They are now putting back some units in the substation, and they will be able to supply immediately. But most of the units, they will only be able to restore everything by Wednesday evening.
Zimbabwe is experiencing persistent power outages due to technical issues at the Hwange power station, reducing the national grid's capacity. Compounding the situation, the Highfield substation fire disrupted electricity distribution to some of the southern suburbs of Harare, further straining power supply. Authorities say they will rectify the issues in the quickest time possible. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Tafara Sibochiwe in Southerton.
New benchmarks for local authorities aimed at improving their performance and accountability. Details when Newsplus comes back.
In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I tried to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days it has to be giving birth. Produce a good quality fruit size.
Well, calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Tariwa Sikauke. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Thank you so much for staying with us. Government has introduced new benchmarks for local authorities aimed at improving their performance and accountability. In a post-cabinet media briefing today, Information Minister Jenfan Muswere said Cabinet has approved the minimum service delivery standards for local authorities framework, which will guide the authorities in implementation of their roadmaps. Each area has performance indicators, benchmarks, and performance standards.
The objectives for developing minimum service delivery standards are to define the minimum levels of services that local authorities should provide and the nature of service recipients should expect in terms of quantity, quality, time and cost to determine minimum cost for the provision of services, to provide uniformity and consistency in the provision of services at local level, and to provide a basis upon which feedback on the level of satisfaction against the standards will be evaluated. The minimum service delivery standards framework places focus on water supply, sanitation, solid waste management, roads and public lighting, corporate governance, public health, environmental issues, and housing and community services.
Still with local authorities, only 64 out of 92 have submitted their final master plans to government following a directive from this. This came out during the National Housing and Local Government Minister's appearance before Parliament today. The two ministries were called before Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Local Government to give updates on the implementation of the National Human Settlements Policy.
Master plans for most towns and cities in Zimbabwe were drafted several years ago when the population was half what it is today. Consequently, last year government ordered local authorities to go back to the drawing board and draft new master plans for their towns.
All local authorities were directed to establish planning departments in their structures.
The initial deadline for draft master plans was 30 June last year, but Harare, the capital city, missed this target. Chief Director for Spatial Planning in the Local Government Ministry says, to date, 64 out of 92 local authorities have submitted their final master plans for approval, with Harare still outstanding.
As of today, Mr. Chairman, we have had all councils pass resolutions except one, which is the city of Harare, approving their master plans. In my office, Mr. Chairman, I do confirm that as of today, we have 64 spatial plans that have been submitted by local authorities, ready to be signed by the Minister of Local Government and Public Works. We hope that by end of this week, we will have received the balance.
The Chief Director says his ministry also now has a comprehensive map and database for all informal settlements and illegally built houses and buildings nationwide, identifying structures slated for removal. However, action is being delayed due to the lack of planned housing alternatives.
The process of relocation of households that were found to have developed outside planned stands was initiated but slowed down by a number of constraints, which include but are not limited to stands, limited availability of planned stands elsewhere.
An urban state land policy has also been drafted and submitted to Cabinet. It aims to digitize and make land management and allocation processes more transparent. Sheo Munjenjema for SETN News at Parliament.
President Mnangagwa today received a courtesy call from United Nations Women Executive Board at State House. The delegation gave the president an update of the mission that they are set to carry out in the country, which includes assessing the work of United Nations women in Zimbabwe. Head of delegation Nicola Clase says they had fruitful engagements in their first meeting with parliamentarians. She further commended the country's efforts to promote gender equality.
We had the opportunity to inform His Excellency the Presidency about our week here in Zimbabwe, where we're going to have very many different meetings. We started already yesterday. Before this meeting, we just came from a meeting with the parliamentarians. So I think what we are here to look at is, of course, the work of UN Women and how UN Women works in the UN system, and also can work in supporting Zimbabwe. So that is the mission that we're on. I think we've been really fascinated by the warmth and the hospitality that we've been receiving throughout actually the 2 days we've been here. We're also going on a field trip to Bulawayo, which we're very much looking forward to. So I think we'll go back to New York with very good impressions. I think as all countries are gender equality is something that all countries are working on, and I think we've been having really good discussions on implementation, as is usually the case in countries, and what the kind of challenges that the country is facing and where progress is being made. So I think really good discussions.
Now, Harare High Court Judge Gibson Mandaza has this afternoon granted Alpha Media Holdings senior reporter Blessed Muhlanga $500 United States bail. His trial at the Harare Magistrates Court is set for the 14th of May. Muhlanga is represented by his lawyer, Mr. Chris Mike. The allegations against Muhlanga stem from the events of January 27th, when he allegedly recorded and uploaded a video of Blessed Runesugeza on YouTube, HSTV, and zimlive.co.zw for public viewing. The video allegedly intended to incite public violence. Another video uploaded on the 11th of February also allegedly intended to incite public violence. Now, Kimberly Chimbalanga gives us today's courts and crimes.
A 50-year-old Harare man, Russell Karimazondo, has been charged for unlawful possession of dangerous drugs after he was found in possession of cocaine. The accused was apprehended at a lodge in Highlands following a tip-off. Police conducted a body search and found him with a sachet weighing 10 grams with a street value of $800. He was remanded in custody to this Wednesday for bail application. Moving on, 2 Harare sex workers have been charged with robbery after they allegedly used violence to rob an iPhone 12 Pro from a 50-year-old at Corner 7th and Samora Machel. They were denied bail, with the state stating that the accused persons are of no fixed abode and the address girl court they provided is only a brothel and a hub for criminals. The state also added that they have a pending case on similar charges where a warrant of arrest was issued, making it likely that they will commit a similar offense if released. They were remanded in custody to 22 May. Still at the courts, a 43-year-old Epworth man has been charged with rape after he allegedly sexually abused a 10-year-old from his area. Allegations are that the accused arrived at the miner's place with the intention of buying avocados. He is alleged to have dragged her into an outside toilet where he aggravatedly and indecently assaulted her before raping her. He was advised to approach High Court for bail application and to return to court on 20 May pending victim impact statement. For TN Prime, I'm Kimberly Chimbalanga in Harare.
Now, the Health Professions Authority Zimbabwe has expressed concern over the increasing number of illegal medical rehabilitation centers operating within the country. In a statement, the authority says legal centers pose a significant threat to the health and safety of vulnerable individuals seeking help. Those being targeted include mental health institutions that do not comply with the registration and licensing of health facilities, including counselors, psychiatrists, and psychologists.
So the first law that we'll speak about is the interpretation of a health institution in our Act, which is the Health Professions Act, Chapter 2719, which speaks to any premises that is used by a health practitioner for diagnosis, treatment, mitigation, prevention of any illness, injury or disability, or abnormal physical or mental state of symptoms thereof in human beings. So this speaks to that particular aspect, as well as Section 99, which states that every health institution should be registered within the authority. So we have been closing down a number of them. I think just last week we closed down 2 in Mutare that were operating without registration. So as we come across them, we immediately close them in compliance with the law.
Here is a list of registered admitting rehabilitation centers in Zimbabwe. Newsplus will be back shortly. Stay with us.
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases,
I tried to do mixed farming. That is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days, it has to be giving birth.
Produce a good quality fruit size. Calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
Welcome back. Now, when I look at news from around the world, we started off in Sudan, where drone strikes have hit a major power station in the Sudanese city of Port Sudan, causing a complete power outage, the country's electricity provider has said. Explosions and huge fires have been reported near the city's main international airport as a paramilitary force targeted the key city for the third consecutive day. Flights have been cancelled after drones hit the international airport and a hotel near the current presidential palace, according to reports. In Iran, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Ismail Baghei on Monday stressed that the country will remain committed to nuclear talks with the United States. Speaking at a weekly press conference in the capital Tehran, the spokesman said Iran's principles and framework for participating in nuclear negotiations remain unchanged. Iran insists that the peaceful use of nuclear energy is its right and will continue to negotiate with the United States. Baghei said that the postponement of the fourth round of indirect negotiations between Iran and the US is based on a proposal by the mediator Oman, and all parties are awaiting Oman's subsequent arrangements.
ملاک و مبنای ما بحث‌هایی است که در میز مذاکره مطرح میشه و نظراتی است که تبادل میشه. در مورد تهدیدهایی که علیه جمهوری اسلامی ایران میشه، قطعاً جمهوری اسلامی ایران و نیروهای مسلح ما با تمام قوا و با مراقبت کامل هر تعرضی رو، هر ماجراجویی رو به شدیدترین وجه ممکن پاسخ خواهند داد. در این تردیدی نکنید.
Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Monday urged maximum restraint from India and Pakistan as the standoff between the two countries has continued to escalate. Tensions between India and Pakistan are at their highest in years, the UN chief said. Guterres once again strongly condemned the terror attack in Palmagran on 22nd of April, which reignited hostilities between the two countries, while extending his condolences to the families of the victims. Targeting civilians is unacceptable, and those responsible must be brought to justice through credible and lawful means, he said.
I deeply respect and I am profoundly grateful to the government of people of both countries and their significant contributions to the work of the United Nations, not least UN peacekeeping. And so it pains me to see relations reaching a boiling point. Now is the time for maximum restraint and stepping back from the brink. That has been my message in my ongoing outreach with both countries. Make no mistake, a military solution is no solution. And I offer my good offices to both governments in the service of peace. The United Nations stands ready to support any initiative that promotes de-escalation, diplomacy, and the renewed commitment to peace.
Ford Motor Company said on Monday that tariff policies taken by the U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is expected to cost the company $1.5 billion in profit this year. The company also warned that supply chain disruptions caused by the tariffs could lead to industry-wide interruption in automotive production. It further noted that other factors, including increases in tariffs, changes in tariff implementation, and the potential retaliatory measures by other nations, could also pose additional threats. Meanwhile, South Korean experts are warning of serious risks induced by the sweeping U.S. tariff on the country's automakers. The damage to the auto industry will be significant, and the difficulties will be especially severe for not only the car manufacturers but also the parts suppliers.
현대차와 기아는
Hyundai and Kia can offset the impact of tariffs by exporting to other markets, but for companies like GM Korea, which solely export to the US, the damage will be much greater.
를 통해 가지고
Newsplus will be back shortly. Stay with us.
It's time for the main event. This is incredible. He has written it, and the dream lives on. I cannot believe it.
Stay connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
Welcome back, gospel music lovers, to another season of My Ultimate Gospel 10. Your ultimate destination for soul-stirring melodies and inspirational stories.
Might prepare me for a good day.
God is faithful because He's holy.
Like, wow, this is beautiful. Each week, they'll be revealing their top 10 gospel songs. Meet Miss Becky K, the dynamic and passionate new presenter for Season 3.
If you are ready, let's get into My Ultimate Gospel 10.
Premiering soon, only on ZTN Prime. Stay tuned and let the music uplift your soul.
And a look at business news tonight. The Consumer Protection Commission of Zimbabwe has issued a public alert regarding the recall of the Mercedes-Benz GLE 167 model following concerns raised by South African authorities over a potentially dangerous fault in the vehicle's high-voltage starter alternator system. This comes after an alert by the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa Competition Commission on the recall of Mercedes-Benz model GLE 167 vehicles by Mercedes-Benz South Africa. According to a statement, the recall was due to a high-voltage starter alternator processor load. We are now joined by Eben Mabunda for more insights on the development. Eben, a good day to you. Can you just please tell us more about this development?
Good evening, Faith. Now, South Africa is home to a Mercedes-Benz manufacturing plant, particularly in the East London. This serves as a distributor hub for Africa as well as beyond. Now, what we are aware of is that a challenge was identified with its GLE 167 model, particularly its starter alternator system, which was presenting a fire hazard and a dangerous situation for motorists as well as passengers. This was highlighted by Mercedes in a conversation with the National Consumer Commission of South Africa, which then was highlighted by the COMESA Competition Commission. And at this point, the Consumer Protection Commission of Zimbabwe issued a statement today also highlighting challenges posed by this particular model, and so calling upon motorists and owners of this very vehicle to come to the fore.
So even what is the extent of this damage?
Well, owners of this particular vehicle source some of the vehicles from South Africa, but other vehicles are sourced from other markets. You have Mercedes vehicles imported from the UK, you have Mercedes vehicles imported from Japan, some are imported from Tanzania. But then the case remains a valid one, because what we know is that in 2024, about 116,000 vehicles were recalled in the United States of America, those being pretty much from the broad SUV vehicle of the Mercedes. And so while this call is coming from vehicles assembled or manufactured in South Africa, that would also go beyond those that have been, of course, manufactured in South Africa, as that is a potentially hazardous situation to be an owner of that vehicle, and that vehicle has not been checked or assessed to check if there has been any issues. So yes, we know 160,000 vehicles were recalled in the United States last year, but in Southern Africa, particularly in South Africa, about 60 vehicles have been identified.
So Eben, what are some of the corrective measures that are in place so far?
Well, the message has been put out there to say owners of the GLE 167 model need to visit the nearest car dealership to get their vehicles checked. At the same time, the South African unit has extended an invitation to say should there be challenges, they're willing to offer swaps on that particular model so that motorists can be safe. So I think at this particular point where Zimbabwe is concerned, it would be important for owners of the GLE model to engage with, of course, their nearest car dealership that is, of course, accredited with the Mercedes-Benz brand, to see to it that they stay clear of any harm, because at the end of the day, we would not want to have accidents that are a result of this particular hazard that's been highlighted. So I think this is the call that the competition, of course, Protection Commission has brought to the fore, that this issue gets addressed sooner rather than later.
Well, Eben, thank you so much for clearing that up for us. That was Eben Mabunda, our business correspondent. Now, the Eagle Real Estate Investment Trust, managed by Fidelity Life Asset Management, will list on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange on the 16th of May, with public trading starting on the 18th of May. The listing confirms the fund's rate tax status while maintaining prescribed asset status, making it an attractive, tax-efficient option for investors. Business analyst Nelson Gahadza says the listing could spur trading activity on the VFX and attract new investors looking for stable, long-term funds.
The REIT market provides significant potential for capital raise for future expansion and development projects in Zimbabwe's real estate sector. The REIT coming on to list on the VFX is expected to attract significant interest from investors looking for exposure to the country's real estate sector. Given VFX appeal to investors seeking US-denominated assets in a high-risky, high-reward environment, the Eagle REIT listing could lead to increased trading activity and liquidity on the exchange. The REIT also has significant potential for raising capital for future expansion, with a development portfolio valued at over 26 million and a flagship development worth 62 million. The REIT is well positioned to tap into the growing demand for real estate investments in Zimbabwe.
First Mutual recorded mixed financial performance in the 2024 financial year, with net property income more than doubling to 84.1 million Zimbabwean gold and revenue rising to 152.7 million Zimbabwean gold, driven mainly by rental income, increased project management fees, and US dollar denominated leases. However, rental collection rates dropped from 85% to 75% due to tenant financial difficulties. In response, management is focusing on resolving arrears, diversifying the tenant base, and enhancing property quality through 16 million Zimbabwean gold spent on maintenance and upgrades. Speaking to ZTN Prime, a financial analyst, Desire Chipisi, said 2024 First Mutual performance reflects a mix of operational strengths and evaluation challenges.
So in terms of my assessment of the overall performance, First Mutual Properties 2024 performance reflects a mix of operational strength and valuation challenges. So operationally, the company achieved significant revenue and net property income growth. But however, a 52.5 million revaluation write-down of its property portfolio due to the adoption of the US dollar as the functional currency, led to a net loss of about 57.2 million. So the decline rental collection rates, also and property values underscores the challenges in the current economic landscape. Nonetheless, the proactive management strategies, including tenant engagement, portfolio diversification, and strategic investments, position the company to navigate these challenges and pursue sustainable growth.
Still in business, South Africa's second biggest asset manager plans to grow its market share in East Africa to take advantage of the continent's fastest growing region. Chief Executive Officer Derek Msibi said Stanley Asset Management intends to scale up its operations to Kenya and Uganda units that started in the past 2 years to become real competitors. And now we give you some entertainment news.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J.
Put your seatbelt on.
And a look at entertainment news tonight. Fresh from a spectacular album launch that drew thousands of fans to the Old Harare Sports Club in Harare, contemporary music superstar Ja Preza has received a lavish gift from businessman Wicknell Chivayo, a brand new 2025 Range Rover autobiography and 150,000 United States dollars in cash. The gesture comes in recognition of Ja Preza's artistic excellence and the overwhelming success of his new album, Dini Mukudze, which was officially launched last Saturday. Zimbabwe's literary community has received a major boost with the establishment of the Reprographic Rights Organization of Zimbabwe, RRO, a government-approved collective management organization that is tasked with safeguarding the rights of authors, publishers, and other copyright holders. RROZ is now fully operational, issuing licenses in line with the Copyright and Neighboring Rights Act, marking a critical turning point in the fight against piracy, unauthorized photocopying, and exploitation in the publishing industry. For years, Zimbabwe's book industry has battled rampant illegal reproduction of literary works, costing writers and publishers vital income and discouraging investment in local literature. Still in entertainment, the United States of America says it will impose a 100% import tariff on all films produced outside its borders in a move President Donald Trump has claimed will bring back the golden age of Hollywood. The decision, which applies to Australian productions, is expected to smash the country's lucrative film sector. Trump framed the policy as a response to what he called unfair incentives offered by other countries to lure African film studios abroad. He said foreign film production not only hurts the U.S. economy, but also affects cultural messaging as well as propaganda. And now we take a look at some sporting action. We start off with some athletics, with the Zimbabwe men's 4x400 meter relay team leaving nothing to chance when they take on the world's best at the World Athletics Relay Tournament in Guangzhou, China. We get more in the following report.
The Zimbabwe 4x400 men's relay team is off to China for their debut at the World Athletics Relays Championship. The quartet of Captain Geren Muishi, Leaford Zuze, Aldrin Tafa and Dennis Hove made history by becoming the first team to qualify for the prestigious event since its inception in 2024. The team blazed the track with a time of 3.3.24 in Botswana to secure their place. The inspiration behind this historic feat began in an unorthodox way, a WhatsApp message that sparked a determined push through qualifying. Now they are ready to lay it all on the line against the world's best at the elite competition.
I think our qualification journey actually started as a WhatsApp group last year in November, where all the guys who ran 400 in the country just gathered together and said, "Gents, next year, at the national record for world relays." And as it is right now, we're going for world relays. So we've ticked one box off the checklist. We're now going on to the next, trying to get a national record, trying to get to Tokyo. So at the end of the day, we ranked ourselves according to the times that people had run that season. And myself, Ifat Zuze, Dennis Hole, and Aldrin Tafa came up with the top times for the 400-meter people before we went for the relays. So we just decided to band together, try to race in South Africa, but they didn't have the 4x4, and then that's when we went for Lefika.
Currently ranked 28th, Zimbabwe has to rank in the top 16 to achieve qualification to the World Athletics Championships set for Tokyo in September. Despite the expectations and milestones, all is calm in the camp.
No pressure, no pressure. Most of the guys are first comers, newcomers on the scene. So for them, it's mostly about going out there and making a name for yourself. So regardless of what result we get, I think most of the guys are just happy to have been part of the team that qualified, happy to have been part of the team that traveled. So at the end of the day, we are not really hindered by pressure or anything. We're just going there, have fun, enjoy ourselves. Because at the end of the day, the more pressure you put on yourself, the less you'll perform. So the guys are just going out there, we're going to have a blast.
Veterans Geren Muishi and Liford Zuze provide a strong backbone to the team, and Zuze is brimming with confidence, a remarkable transformation from his first international relay appearance.
Last time I got the first time. That's a number representatives map. Saga maybe confidence that the show ma cannot fear, whatever, I don't know. But this time I promise to score in a good position because the second time for me country. Everything is good now because no fear, no watch, no everything.
The World Athletics Relays 2025 start on 10 May, with Team Zimbabwe departing for China early Wednesday morning, looking to script another memorable showing on the global stage.
In cricket, Zimbabwe fast bowlers Blessing Muzarabani and Richard Ngarawa have made the headlines again as they have been rewarded for their heroics in the chevron's colours. Muzarabani is amongst the 3 top players in the running for the International Cricket Council Player of the month of April, along with Bangladeshi all-rounder Mahid Hassan Miraz and New Zealand bowler Ben Sears. Muzarabani has been phenomenal for Zimbabwe in April 2025, most notably in the Test series against Bangladesh, where he showed class as he was unplayable in the 2 tests as he finished as Zimbabwe's top wicket taker in the series with 10 wickets across 2 tests and an average of 20.50. Muzarabani has moved 14 places up the ICC World Test rankings as he now occupies position 15 after he collected a career-best 705 points in the last Test series against Bangladesh. His bowling compatriot Richard Ngarawa has moved 2 places up in the ICC World ODI rankings as he is now on position 23, 1 place up after his impressive exploits against Ireland early on this year. Meanwhile, former England and Zimbabwe batter Gary Ballance has been added to the coaching staff for Zimbabwe's upcoming tour of England. Ballance, who spent more than a decade playing county cricket with Yorkshire, will join as a coaching consultant for the one-off test at Trent Bridge starting on the 22nd of May. Ballance played 23 tests for England and subsequently opted to represent Zimbabwe, the country of his birth, playing 1 test, 5 ODIs and 1 T20I in 2023 before retiring. His 137 not out on test debut for Zimbabwe has made him only the 2nd man to score centuries for 2 test nations. In rugby, Zimbabwe senior men's rugby player Shingirai Kachere is delighted to be back in the Sables fold after nearly 2 years away from the side as he battled injury setbacks and took time to rebuild himself both physically and mentally. Kachere said he is happy to be home and hopes to play his part in a new look Sable side that has a new game plan as well as new ambitions.
It's been a blessing, like I said. Also, I'm happy to be part of the team, and also there's a lot of changes which are good, and also I'm happy to be part of the team, and they're helping me through, and also I'm learning and also getting better by the time as we walk. There's always a change every time you go into a setup like these national teams, but also this has been positive change in a way that everyone is free to express themselves, and also at the same time we have a game plan we play also. So it's quite exciting, and also you're also free to do whatever you want, but also according to the gameplay.
The French-based player called on his Sables teammates to play as a unit as they have set their sights on World Cup qualification and spoke on how Zimbabwean players have managed to draw attraction from foreign leagues.
It's very important because like last year we win and there's an opportunity to win, but also you must know that every team is ready. We're the team to beat now, so there's more to fight for, and we have to be ready for each and every game. It's a final, each and every game it's a fight. So it's very important, but we believe that we can achieve whatever we want if we play as a team, and if we help, we understand the gameplay and also do whatever we're supposed to do as the coach says. It's opportunities and time. There's time for everything. Like I always talk about, there's time for everything. When the opportunity comes, we're also ready to grab it, and also we're just always waiting for that opportunity to fight. Zimbabweans, we're fighters every time, and we're competitive every time. So as the opportunities open itself, we also like to just fight for it and get whatever we want to get at the moment.
Up next, the Sables will host Botswana in a test match at Harare Sports Club on Saturday. Now, seasoned coach John Nyikadzino has been named the Pacific Storm Eastern Region Soccer League Coach of the month of April after guiding his side, FC Hunters, to 4 wins. The Marondera-based side has a 100% record in the league so far, winning all of their 5 matches. They dispatched Chivu Stars 4-0 in a match that was played at Rudaga in Marondera at the weekend. And Nyikadzino, who has helped several teams gain promotion from the country's second-tier competition to the top flight, has said that he is taking each game as it comes. Nyikadzino has previously helped teams like Shisham and Nichroot gain promotion into the Premier Soccer League, something that has renewed the hope of top-flight action for football followers in Marondera.
It's too early to talk about the championship. We take game by game. Already we are looking forward to our next game against Malika Diamonds. It's only 5 games in the league. I'm very happy with the result. That was a massive performance from the boys. We are looking forward to the next game. Yeah, basically I want to thank Pacific for the sponsorship in terms of awarding the coach of the month. It really improves the league. It's self-motivation to me and the rest of the coaches. Everybody would want to win this award. So it's going to improve the league in terms of performance of teams. So I'm very happy with the sponsorship of Pacific.
The coming in of Pacific Storm as sponsors has been welcomed by a number of teams that have been failing to fulfill fixtures. The company's marketing manager, Kudakwashe Chiuti, said they have poured in enough resources to ensure that the league runs smoothly.
What we envision for the league is for people within the D1 to be able to actually grow talent each and every day. We want them to be able to come and play and be looking forward to it without any financial constraints. This is what we look forward to, and we look forward to more teams graduating into the league. We look forward to more teams even venturing into other sporting activities out of Africa or in Africa. What we want to do is to emancipate them financially so that they can do more, so that they're empowered to do more, they're empowered to actually love soccer and to actually acknowledge that this game is not just men's play, but it's more. It's something that unifies communities, it's something that brings them together, it's something that actually shows off their talent.
That's all we had for you on Newsplus this Tuesday evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. We leave you with the weather forecast. Good evening and enjoy the rest of your viewing.